Ever opened up an old toy or a TV remote and seen that green board with all the squiggly lines on it? Well, that little board is the secret hero behind, well, pretty much everything electronic in your life. It's called a printed circuit board, or PCB. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden world that powers our lives.
Now, take a look at this. It looks like some kind of crazy microscopic city, right? A maze of metallic streets and shiny buildings. It seems impossibly complex. But I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to see this in a whole new light. This whole intricate world is about to make a lot more sense.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to cover the absolute basics. What exactly is a PCB? Then, we'll dive into the different kinds of boards and the little parts that live on them. And finally, we'll learn how to speak the language of electronics by looking at schematics and something called the bill of materials. Ready? Let's go!
Okay, first things first. What exactly is this unseen backbone that holds all of our gadgets together?
So at its heart, a PCB is the foundation of any electronic device. You know, before PCBs, everything was connected with this chaotic jumble of individual wires. Engineers called it a rat's nest, and it was a total nightmare, unreliable and just impossible to make small. A PCB gets rid of all that mess. It replaces it with these super precise copper pathways, or traces, that are etched right onto a board. It brings order to the chaos.
So what does a PCB actually do? Well, it kind of has four main jobs. First, it's the physical skeleton that holds all the little components in place. Second, it creates the electrical highways that connect everything together. Third, because everything is locked in place, it makes the whole device way more reliable and tough than loose wires ever could be. And maybe most importantly, it lets engineers shrink incredibly complex circuits down to a size that fits in your pocket.
All right, but here's the thing. Not all PCBs are created equal. You got to think of it like construction. You can build a simple one-story house for a simple job, or you can build a massive skyscraper for something really complex.
This here is your one-story house. A single-layer PCB has just one layer of that conductive copper on an insulating base. They're super simple and cheap to make, so you'll find them in things like kids' toys, simple power adapters, or basic calculators. Anywhere you don't need a whole lot of connections.
Now, we're building a second story. A double-layer PCB has copper on both the top and the bottom. But then you have a new problem. How do you connect the two sides? The solution is ingenious. It's called a via. It's basically a tiny copper-plated hole that acts like an elevator for electricity, letting signals travel between the layers. This is a game changer for making circuits way more compact.
And here it is, the skyscraper. A multi-layer PCB is literally a sandwich of multiple boards all pressed together. We're talking 4, 8, 16, sometimes even more layers. This is what's inside your smartphone, your laptop, your graphics card. By stacking layers for power, ground, and signals, engineers can create those incredibly dense, high-speed designs that make all of our modern tech possible.
Okay, so we've got our board. Now what about all the little electronic parts that actually sit on it? It really boils down to two main types, two big families of components.
Just look at the difference here. It's kind of staggering, right? On the left, you've got these chunky through-hole components with their long metal legs. They almost look like little insects. And on the right, you have these tiny, sleek surface mount devices, or SMDs. Some of them are smaller than a grain of rice. This jump in size is the reason we have powerful computers in our pockets.
So let's break it down. Through-hole parts, like the name says, have leads that go through holes in the board and get soldered on the other side. This makes for a really strong connection, which is great if you're building a prototype by hand or for parts that need to be extra secure. But surface mount devices, they just sit right on little copper pads on the surface. They're tiny, which means you can pack a ton of them onto a board, and they're perfect for the super fast robots that assemble our electronics today.
So before an engineer even thinks about laying out a physical board, they have to design the entire circuit. And the document they create is the master blueprint. It's the language of electronics itself, the schematic.
A schematic is basically a drawing that uses a universal set of symbols. Think of it like learning the ABCs. Once you know that a zigzag line is a resistor and two parallel lines is a capacitor, you can start to read the words and sentences of any circuit diagram in the world. It's a totally universal language.
So how do you actually read one? It's a pretty logical process. The first thing to do is find the power source. Where's the juice coming from? Then you just follow the lines, tracing the path of the signal from one component to the next. As you go, you identify the symbols to figure out what each part is doing, and pretty soon you can see how groups of them work together. Like, oh, this whole section is the audio amplifier,
And this right here, this is the aha moment. On the left is the schematic, the logical plan. It shows what is connected to what. On the right is the PCB layout, the physical reality. It shows where those components and copper traces will actually go on the board. The schematic is the idea, and the layout is how you actually build it.
Okay, so if the schematic is our recipe, then we need a shopping list of all the ingredients, right? In electronics engineering, that shopping list is called the bill of materials, or just BOM for short.
A BOM is exactly what it sounds like. It's a super detailed line-by-line list of every single component you need to build that circuit. It's the critical link between the design on the computer and the physical product you can hold in your hand. Without a perfect BOM, a factory simply can't build anything.
And here's what one looks like in the wild. Yep, it's usually just a big spreadsheet, but don't let that fool you. This document is pure gold. It lists everything: how many of each part you need, its special name on the schematic, like R1 for the first resistor, the official manufacturer part number. Every tiny detail is here. And you really can't overstate how critical this thing is. For the factory, it's their Bible for putting the board together. For the finance team, it's how they figure out how much the product will cost. For the purchasing folks, it's the master list for ordering millions of parts. And most importantly, it makes sure that the right part goes in the right place every single time. It is the absolute source of truth.
So let's just take a quick step back and look at what we've covered. You now get what a PCB is and why it's so important. You can tell the difference between a simple board and a complex one. You know the two main types of components, and you understand how an idea starts as a schematic and becomes a real product with a PCB layout and a BOM. You've got the fundamentals down.
So, we've gone from looking at a confusing green board to understanding the core documents that bring our devices to life. You now get the basic concepts that every single electronics engineer uses every day. This isn't just abstract theory, it's the language of creation in our modern world. So, the only question left is, now that you speak the language, what are you going to build?